See, my mic's not on. There you go. So, I gotta repeat myself. Today, today we're just gonna be discussing about mental health and body positive. I said body positivity, life positivity, and by
Mm.
life positivity, it's about how to maintain positivity in life, even if life tends to whoop your ass and everything like that. It's just steps on how to maintain that. But we also want to dive into the mental health issue because a lot of people tend to discredit mental health as if it's just a feeling, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, a part of it is a part, just a small part of it is right. That's all I'm saying because that's gonna connect into your whole life positivity thing, right?
Mm.
So we're gonna give our own opinions on how we perceive mental health, how we go about it, things we would do to make sure our mental health is strong, right? Um, and then a couple things that we would also do to promote or like kind of teach how to keep a positive feeling in life, right? Jay, do you want to start off?
All right, shoot.
There you go.
All right. Life, as we all know it, can be fun as hell, and you can be enjoying it. And the next you know, it punches you in the face and knocks you the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Life's a bitch. It's cruel. It's great. We love it.
Yeah.
We hate it. So, first things first, you got to get back up. Like Rocky, I mean, great movie. All right movie. It was one of the greatest movies. But as he said, it doesn't matter if you can take one punch. You're gonna keep having to keep take punch after punch with life. It never lets up, no matter how good things can be. Right the next day or in the next 10 seconds, something can happen that can change your whole life. But you got to be able to get back up and keep fighting. That's the only way you move forward. That's the only way you can deal with it. Because the moment you let it keep you down, you never get back up again. You got to keep pushing as hard as it is. Trust me, everybody. Everyone's had that moment or has had quite a couple moments where you're just like, I just want to give up. That's it. I'm done. It's like, but I can't. Shit's hard.
Uh, that's true. There's a couple emphasis on we are one bad day away from either ending it all or putting it all on someone else,
The Joker.
right?
Good quote. Good quote.
There's actually a new movie coming out soon with Russell Crowe, where basically they're stuck in traffic apparently,
Mm.
and like the person I guess is like pissed off that he cut her off or something like that, and that's the movie right there. He proceeds to then stalk her and do a lot of other shit because he was having a horrible day and she was the trigger, right? She was the one that's like that thin line and it just snapped, right? Um, but for me, mental health was a I would say what are those words that parents superstition, right? Like
Yeah,
superstition.
parents
Yeah,
and
growing up, that it was a superstition. You didn't think about mental health, right? What how you were scarred kids and all that stuff. We didn't think about that shit, right?
mm,
You know, and a lot of that has to do with our mental health as adults now. Sometimes you will often see that some children couldn't deal with trauma because their parents constantly hid it from them, right? Every little thing that happened in life could be a relative passing away, could be I don't know, maybe they get I don't know chased after school and stuff like that, and instead of their parents explaining these things out, they instead try to put them in a bubble in which they're like, yeah, we can't let them have that because they're gonna feel bad, right? Come adult time, right? Come adult time, now they have to deal with those things. They have to. There's no more parents to protect you from in that bubble, right? They have to deal with those things, and they never learned how to. They never had the practice of dealing with it how they should. So then you end up with very, very, I want to say mentally weak, but mentally
sensitive.
unprepared.
Oh, okay, there you go. Sorry,
There
sorry,
you go. Mentally unprepared folks who something that should be somewhat like understandable, somewhat stable for us, like as normal adults, will be a trigger for them much, much easier.
Mm.
right? That's why they say everybody has a price and everybody has a limit. Your limit could be something where it's like your life changed forever, right? Something where it's like, God forbid, like maybe your arms cut off or something like that, right? Like something drastic, right?
Mm.
For others, it's their cat got run over by a car. Now they gotta go kill the guy who ran over the cat. Like you see, like it's just there's levels to this shit, bro. There's levels to this shit. But we have to, at least today, in today's time, we have to acknowledge that a lot of people's mental health have different mental capacities in which correlates to their emotion. Right, a lot of our emotion is based off our mental. A lot of it, right? A lot of people try to keep it like as spiritual, right? Spiritual is like a feeling, right? Sometimes spiritual connects to emotion, but nah. A lot of your mental strength has a lot to do with your emotional strength. A lot of your emotional strength has a lot to do with your mental strength. One of the biggest tips I have to secure your mental strength, breaks, right? Anything that deals with you in regards to stress, anything that tends to stress you out, and it may not stress you out like outrageously today, right? But could be stressing you out over time.
Like a job
Like a
every
job,
day.
simple as that, right? If a job is stressing you out every day, and like I said, it's little by little. It could be just one incident at work, just one small one where it's like you're having a good day, now you're having a mediocre day, like that kind of thing. After time, it accumulates, right? That stress builds up, right? The stress doesn't go away. The stress builds up, right? If you do not take a break from that stress dealing, situation, then you are now hitting that capacity in which you're closer to snapping, right? You're closer to being that much, you know, to a breakthrough, right? Um, so if that happens, take time off, either if it's at work, if it's at home, if it's online, right? Take time off away from those things, right? That way you basically get a reset button, right?
Mm.
You basically get a reset button because the last thing you want is an overflowed glass of stress. Because next thing you know, anything new that comes along that's supposed to fill that glass up a little bit has no room for it. So that's why they say you can't cry for spilled milk.
And don't listen to people when they're like, "Oh, don't take your sick days." Stay a job. Nah, fuck that.
Take them goddamn
Sometimes,
6 days.
sometimes you need a break. Take a day off. Use your sick days. They're there for a reason. People try to shame people. It's like, nah, fuck that.
You
Wait,
need
we're not just made to work. Nah, we need time.
you definitely need 6 days. One of the biggest things for me is when COVID started, and when yeah, COVID started and before that, everybody in my office takes vacations, right?
Hmm.
All the older people, they take vacations, right? They're like this month they're like taking like a week off, right? Then 2 or 3 months from now they're taking another week off, right? And I'm sitting here like damn, the fuck? Like why are you taking so many days off, right? And then next thing I know, I'm starting to stress out more than I should in work, right? And it's little things. Again, it's little things. Maybe somebody said some shit that messed up your day or whatnot. But then I took just a 3 day break, right? And the way I time my breaks, my vacations, like small breaks, is I take them on a Friday or a Monday.
That's a
That
good
way
idea.
I have the additional consistent days, the concurrent days. I'm taking a break. A lot of people like to take their break like a day off on like a Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday. No, don't do that because you want to make sure you have an extra amount of time either coming from the weekend or going into the weekend. All right? Because if you do it, this was gonna happen on Wednesday. I kid you not. Sunday you're preparing for work, right? So you're stressing about getting to work. Right? Monday you get to work. Tuesday you get to work. Right? Tuesday night you're relaxing. Right? You probably sleep in on Wednesday morning. Right? Do what you gotta do. But guess what happens? Now you gotta prepare for Thursday work. Right? Then you got Friday work. Right? So technically, even though you took a day off, you ain't really get that little day break. You know what I'm saying? All you probably did will sleep a little bit longer, right? Meanwhile, if you take a day off Friday, right, that means Thursday you're preparing for the weekend, right? Thursday you're preparing for the weekend. And because it's Friday, you now don't got to worry about Saturday, right? Because Saturday is just another Friday, basically, right? Then you got Sunday. Sunday, you're going to stress about going to work, but now you had an extra day of relaxation, right? Because a lot of people don't realize the weekend only has one day that's not work oriented, and that's Saturday. That is it. That is it. Because Friday, you're coming from work. And then Sunday, you're preparing to go back. Saturday is the only time you do not think about work at all. Right? And a lot of people don't realize that, which is why a lot of people are still stressed, because what they thought was a weekend is basically just a 1 day break. You technically prepare for your work 6 days out of the 7 day week. You know what I'm saying? So again, I emphasize, take your breaks. You got vacation time, take it. Right? Because you never know what's gonna happen. You got, like me personally, I have 300 hours.
Damn. Damn.
I have 300 hours of vacation time. Right? I'm using those as an advantage sometimes. Right? 300 hours on an 80 hour 2 weeks, right? Like something like that. It's like 80. So that's about 6 weeks and change. 6, 7. About seven and a half weeks, right? Seven
Very
and a
nice.
half.
It's very nice.
That's 7.5 weeks of paid vacation, right? That's a month and 2 weeks, basically, right? Month and 3, almost 2 months, right? If I decide not to take that time, I'm just stressing myself out. You take that time to make sure that you have a reset button, because again, your mentality builds up over time. Your mental capacity builds up over time. And it's going to affect your emotions. It's going to affect your relationships with other people. Right? It's going to affect how you look at life. You know what I'm saying? It's going to affect all those things because it all starts up here. It all starts mentally. So make sure you take your breaks. That's it on my side.
The next, probably second, maybe number one, but the next most important thing, in my opinion, is finding out what helps you de-stress and unwind. So like for some people, it's working out. Some people like to go for a run. Some people like to read a book. Some people like to play video games. Some people draw. Some people write. On top of that, I would urge you to find at least 3, because sometimes when you're really stressed out, your normal thing that gets you to unwind isn't enough. So you're like, all right, let me go to option 2. And then let me go to option 3 if that doesn't work. You got to find what can help you just mellow out and relax, because you can be stressed and take a day off and you don't know what to do.
Yep.
And then you come off still being stressed. That's like, why did I take a day off in the first place? And it just makes things worse.
Yep.
Like for me, like there's video games, there's drawing, there's writing, there's reading. And when all of that fails, I found the one thing that has never failed, I go for a walk on the trail. Like away from everybody, just go for a walk and come back.
You got a trail.
Gives you a nice reset. You come. I think it's because I'm just away from like everything. There's no technology. There's no people. Yeah. It's just a trail, middle of nature. It's quiet. Reset and come back, and you're good. But you got to find what helps you relax, because if you don't and you just take a day off, it doesn't really help you.
I like that you said that. I like that you said. You know why I like that you said that? Because here I come now. All right, here I go. Stay off the weed. No, but I ain't gonna steal from Stephen A. Smith. But like Jared said, you gotta find what de-stresses you. However, I do want to emphasize that do not always turn to outside stimuli for that. By outside stimuli, I mean literally you taking things from the outside world and putting it in your body in order to feel better, right? Because here's the thing about stress, and I emphasize this all the time with my friends. Your body naturally does deal with stress, right? What is it, serotonin and all these other chemicals it sends to the brain, right? When you're stressed out, it tries to calm you down, right, basically. A lot of people tend to, when they're stressed out, look for weed, look for alcohol, look for, if you do it, cocaine, all that stuff. But you tend to look for these things. Next thing you know, you're hooked on, right? And it's not because the substance itself. It's not, right? Anything in this world is addictive, right? But it's because your body now equates stress to needing that outside stimuli. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. Let's be real. How many people have friends, right, that started smoking? Next thing you know, they started smoking when they were stressed, right? They was like, "Oh, I need to smoke. I'm stressed out a bit, right? Next thing you know, they need smoking for breakfast. They can't eat cereal without smoking, right? And it's not against them. It's not, right? I grew up around these people. It's not against them. But they clearly taught their bodies to need this in order to deal with stress. You know what that does? When that thing is not with you, right? When that thing is not with you, guess what your body does? Body tells you, nah, fam, you need it. I don't know how to deal with stress no more because you taught me something else. I knew it before, but now I don't. You always taught me, when in doubt, weed it out. You know what I mean? But and it's not just weed. Like I said, it's not just weed. But you can't substitute outside stimuli with stress. Okay? You just can't. You know, and again, a lot of people get lost in it. We've seen it. Hell, look at the 1970s with the crack epidemic. Guess what motherfuckers were back then? Stressed. Like, they were stressed, right? And what they do? Either sell or use, right? And why did you use? Because you couldn't deal with the stress anymore. And then what happened after you used it? Your body wants more. Why? Because it's stressed. And then what happens after it's stressed and you can't do it no more? Withdrawal. Like that. That's just simple. It's literally that simple, fam. You know what I'm saying? So, like Jared said, look for what distresses you, but don't rely on outside stimuli. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And also, once you do find your distressor, actually, it doesn't even have to be outside stimuli. Too much of anything, as we know, can be bad for you. So, for instance, if working out is just stress relief, right? But now you just like going like 4, 5, 6 straight hours every day. That shit's not healthy, first of all. You will damage your body if you keep going that far.
No doubt. No doubt.
But like, find your de-stressors, but always remember, moderation is key. Have multiple ways to de-stress. Don't just rely on one, because eventually, sometimes that might not be enough. So you need to have a second thing to fall back on.
That's true. That's true. Now, therapy, right? This is just my opinion. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Right. I think some bullshit. But not in the way that you think it is. I do feel like therapists understand the human body and the human mind. Right? I don't discredit what they're capable of. You know what I discredit? The fact that if you don't see them, they don't get paid. Right? So my job as a therapist is to have you check in with me. Right? Like you check in with me, we have our sessions, whatever. But my job ain't to cure you. My job is to help you as slow as possible. And again, this is opinion, not fact. Okay, opinion. I don't want no therapist to be like, "Yo, how dare you speak up against our profession?" and blah blah blah. Listen, all I'm saying is, if I'm sick mentally, right, and I go see a therapist, that therapist may know how to fix me, right? But they're not going to do it until week 27, right? They want to make sure, right? Even though we want the end result immediately as us, we want to be fixed fast. They're like, no, we got to do this step, then we got to do this step, then we got to do this step, even though you could easily do the last step and everything's fine, right? But I say this. I say the core therapy should always be those around you. Right? If those around you can understand you, they can give you insight. They can tell you what's going on. The issue a lot of people have is we have enablers, and I think we talked about this a couple podcasts ago. If you're enabled to do something, enabled, right? That means basically you have a lot of yes men around you or yes women, right? Certain things can stress you out, and they're not gonna tell you not to do it. They're gonna say, "Do you feel good about it right now?" Not if you're gonna feel good about it tomorrow, or the next year, or the next day, or anything. Do you feel good about it right now? Right? Those are enablers. They'll say, "Do it if you feel good right now." Right? Don't care about tomorrow. Right? But something I've noticed is what we tend to do is take the word of those around us to heart, no matter what. Right? Whatever your parents say is a lot more powerful than what your teacher said. Right? What your best friend says is a lot more powerful than your boss. You know what I mean? If I tell you, "My God, you look amazing today," you're smiling the rest of the day if I'm your best friend. But if your boss says, "Oh my God, you look amazing today," you're gonna smile for a minute, right? Because who's around you holds more weight, more impact on your immediate life. So I always tell people, if you're gonna talk out your issues with your friends or anything like that, right? You need to literally make sure you have the right people around you, because a lot of people don't understand mental health, right? A lot of people don't understand there's choices, there's actual different choices that they can make in order to improve their mental health. No, they are ready to be happy now, but not happy tomorrow. Right? So keep that in mind. I think therapy is real. I think therapy helps. But I think it doesn't help fast enough for a reason. Financially.
I mean, to be fair, they gotta eat too. You know what I'm saying?
No. Like, I ain't bashing their profession. I'm not bashing their profession. But there's a reason why construction, construction projects
Take forever.
Yeah, they take forever. There's a reason why they don't have every single person in the damn unit work at the same time.
At hourly.
Like, what? No, you spread out the money over time. You spread it out over time. I don't get one big lump sum. No, I just keep getting, because that's, what was that? Something income. I forgot what it is. Recurring income or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, again, therapy good. Therapy good. Just slow. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
And I mean, like, as you pointed out, having the right people around you helps. And I think everybody should have that one friend that you can talk about the rainbow to, like anything.
Yep.
And y'all could just sit down and break it down. Because like you have a bunch of friends, but not everybody can handle certain things. But you probably have that one friend you're like, damn, let me talk to so and so. That's my person.
Yep.
You got to have that one friend that you can just break stuff down for. Yeah. But on top of that, actually, well, here's another thing. The next most important thing, you need to take notes. Like you're the person that knows you best. So you should be aware of when your stress is starting to build up, or know that you're starting to show signs of it, or when you start shutting down. Everybody has signs. Like you normally, it's like, say every day you come home and you read a book for an hour, then you work out, and then you go to sleep or something like that. But it's like, hey, for the last 3 days, I haven't been reading, I haven't been working out. I've kind of just been sitting in front of the TV. Like at that point, you should be like, oh shit, I'm triggered. I gotta start working on this now. You gotta watch out for your signs. Everybody has their own signs. Everyone is different. But if you start to recognize your signs, you can start to jump on top of it and begin to like fix yourself or help yourself unwind or de-stress before it gets to a point where you're like, oh damn, I don't know what to do anymore.
True. But see, this is just a theory of mine. I don't think we will ever know ourselves more than anybody else, because one, we have a bias against ourselves.
True.
How many times did you think you were fine and you said you were fine and you weren't fine? Right? Like that. We have a huge bias. We have a huge bias on ourselves, right? That's just no question. But it's more like, I think I made an example of like the house, right? Your house, right? If I never walk outside my house, right? So if my lawn is on fire, right, and I never looked outside my house, who am I to believe you that my lawn's on fire, right? I know the inside of my house, and clearly the inside of my house isn't on fire. The outside is, but not the inside, right? So this goes into the whole best friend thing, is having people there to make sure and fix your issues, everything like that, is because of the fact that you will only see what you want to see in regards to who you are, right? You cannot, and I mean cannot, see outside of yourself. You can't, right? You could do certain things when you're stressed out and not notice it at all. Could be something as simple as, yo, you blink twice in your left eye when you think too much or some shit, right? And then you're thinking to yourself like, motherfucker, I blink all the time. What are you talking about? I was like, no, because in 2 seconds you about to blink right, bam, boom, boom, and then you're like, oh shit, I ain't noticed that, right? Because you let's be real. How often do we know when we blink? We don't really know when we blink. We just looking, right? The only time we know when we blink is when we do this, like the long blinks, right? But when we're talking, it's like it happens. It happens fast, so you don't notice that, right? But this is why I say I feel like you need to have a friend that knows you as much as you know yourself, because they are able to tell you what's on the outside, and you're able to discuss what's on the inside. And then that way the problem can actually fit itself, because now you have two perspectives for the same house, right? So you both know how to solve the issue with each other's information, right? And a lot of people, and this is where I'm gonna dive into this. A lot of people feel like mentally they should just be alone, right? And let's be real. A lot of people are introverts in that way, but that's more like energy. Introvert is more like, I can hang out with people, but I can't hang out with people too long, right? Because I want to recharge my batteries, right? That's introvert. Extrovert is, I can't be by myself for too long. I need interaction, and then I can come relax by myself, right? Like that's it's just all about how how you get your energy back. But when in regards to being alone, let's be real, us humans are not what is it, solidarity? Solitary.
We're social.
We're social creatures. We're very, very social creatures. No matter what we do, we will tend to look for interaction, right? Even people who are introverted, right? We got the world of streaming now. We got the world of video games and stuff like that. So even though you can prefer to be by yourself, guess what you're doing? You're going online for a human interaction, right? It may not be physical, but you're looking for it, right? But my thing is, to those who tend to feel they need to be alone, that they feel they don't need to burden people with their problems. First things first, if people are asking you what's wrong, you're not a burden, right? If I open the door and tell you come into my house, don't think I'm annoyed the fact that you're in my house. That don't make sense. I asked you to come in my house, right? A lot of people tend to feel like they are burdening their friends with their problems and their mistakes and things like that. When in reality, the friend is just trying to support you, trying to give you that level where it's like, hey, I know you're stressed. Here's a rest. Here's a level, right? Make sure you don't drop down there. We're going to keep you here for a bit so you can build yourself back up, right? That's cool, right? Now, if you're constantly, there's a difference. If you're constantly looking towards somebody and telling them your problems all the time, and they ain't saying, hey, I ain't asked for that, right? They ain't out here like, hey, I need help, or you need help, or anything like that. No. Right? Then you just keep hitting them up and saying, oh my God, this happened, and they're like, damn, that's crazy. Damn, that's crazy, right? First things first, if anybody hits you with the damn, that's crazy, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're literally just looking at the phone like, oh my God, right? Always look for those who can give you back what you just said, right? Like in regards to in regards to your problems, what you will notice a lot of times is when you're venting to somebody who's actually listening, they will repeat what you just said in their own way, and then add what they want to say.
Mm.
That's something that's always gonna be a constant. The damn that's crazy, dude. All you did was hit them up, and they don't give a shit, but they felt they needed to reply. That's all it is, right? But in regards to people actually listening and all that stuff, one, you're not a burden if they invite the issue, right? If they invite you, you're not a burden. Always remember that. Number two, don't feel that you're stressing them out or adding stuff to their lives, right? Because clearly they know and feel I could take this on with them, right? And let's be real, unless it's like you're trying to move in with them or some shit, they're not actually involved, right? They're not actually like involved. They're just giving you peace, right? They're giving you input so that you yourself can solve the issue, right? If it's like a test, all you're doing is asking your friend, hey, how do we solve this? But you need to put the answer down. That's all it is. You both are figuring out the answer, but you are the person that needs to put the answer down. That's it.
Okay. All right. I guess the next thing would be watch your friends and take notes. Try and look for when, I guess, or try and see if you can, like you, everyone. I would say you generally know how your friends are, like everyone, their personality, how they act, and you should be at some point looking for signs of like, hey, something's wrong. Like maybe Bob talks to you every day, like at lunchtime, like every day, y'all just chat it up for 30 minutes and then he goes away. But then it's like, Bob and I haven't talked for 2 days. Like, damn, I wonder what's wrong with Bob. And then go hit him. Hey, man, how you doing? I'm all right. Nah, you ain't, bro. We talk every day. We haven't talked in 2 days. What's up? Kind of try and look for signs that maybe like something's wrong. Maybe they need help. Something's off. Because then maybe you can help your friend out. Because a lot of the times, like also a drastic change of behavior is also a big warning sign. So like, for instance, people who commit suicide, they say like, people say, they've been depressed for like months and months and months. And then it's like one day, hey man, like they threw a party and we all came over and we had a blast. And then it's like, oh, next day, like they killed themselves. You're like, well, what the hell happened? And it's like, nah, that's a warning sign. I'm not saying that's always the case, but it's something to take note of. Whenever like someone's behavior drastically changes all of a sudden, like, hey, that might be indicated to like investigate, try and dig and see if something's up.
Yeah, like shit. I had a friend, God rest her soul. So I'm not gonna put any names out, but her behavior, mind you, I haven't talked to her for years, fam, years. But we was always friends on Facebook, so I'd always see the statuses and stuff like that. Mm. And one thing I noticed is that she would always talk about how life was great, right? Like her relationship was great. She got a new job offer. It was great. Like all this other stuff, right? But then you start to see her share stuff that's like she feels alone, right? But she, this is the stuff that like she's not putting a caption for. She's just sharing it. Right? It's like she feels alone. She wonders what life would be like if she wasn't there. All that stuff. Next thing you know, and mind you, because most of the time on the timeline, you only saw positive stuff, right? That's all you saw. Next thing you know, she ends things. And the worst part about it is everybody who was friends with her outside of her family didn't know until months later. And the main thing was everybody just thought like she just stopped posting on Facebook. And I mean, like she went to focus on her great relationship and great job opportunity. But no, she said she felt lonely. She felt alone. And the one thing I always say when people feel alone is that who was there, right? And I mean, I don't mean like who was there. I mean who was there, right? Who was actually there listening to them, right? If somebody's actually there listening, somebody's there. Okay, you can't just be physically there and just be like, yeah, no, everything was fine, right? Did you talk to them? How often did you talk with them? What did you guys talk about? Did you go in depth? But in depth, hate that freaking word, but it's so nice. Depth, right? Did you go in depth, right? All that stuff. And the biggest thing I noticed is that for some of those people, they had somebody nearby, right? They had somebody who was there with them almost every day, but they ain't had nobody to talk to.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And that's in my opinion is the biggest factor is if you don't got anybody to talk to, then what you're seeing now is the fact that why they were alone. Because we as humans, we look for commonality. We look for things we have in common. And a lot of the times the people we vent to have something in common with us. Right? But it doesn't even have to be the same characteristic. Right? It could be a goal. Right? Maybe you're trying to be healthy and they're trying to help you be healthy. That's a common goal, is that not? You know what I'm saying? So the fact when you can't find that commonality with somebody, that's when we all start to feel alone. You know, so I always say like make sure you have somebody one that's gonna promote growth to you. That's growth, right? And two, make sure you have somebody to talk to. Always make sure you have somebody to talk to, but make sure that person is somebody you can listen to. Because again, most of us have a friend A who we talk to, but we know damn well they ain't listening. And then we got friend B who we know was listening, right? So even though you know B is the one that's gonna, be the one that gives me the answers or helps me out and things like that, the reason why you like A is because you could tell A without any judgment because they're not listening. B is gonna judge you but still help you. A is not gonna judge you because they don't give a shit. they just talking to talk. You get a banter. That's it. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Hmm.
So with that being said, Gerard,
Mm-hmm.
how do you stay positive in life?
How do I stay positive in life?
When life kicks your ass,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do to stay positive?
I think about the fact that it's going to be another Avengers movie or Marvel movie, and I'm like, damn, that shit probably going to be lit.
Bust out the nerd on us, fam.
Shit. How do I stay positive? I mean, we all have our dark days. We all have when like shit goes wrong. You're like, man, fuck all this. I don't want to do anything anymore. Honestly, it's probably my friends and my family that are what keep me going. When it comes down to it, I enjoy them. I love being around them.
Yeah.
Whenever we're together, it's always like a blast, like talking to people and stuff. And whenever things have gotten bad, I can always talk to someone, and they generally have helped me through it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, in a weird way, if not living for me, it's living for someone else, if that makes any kind of sense.
No, that makes sense.
That's kind of how I've got to get through it or get by. But I know it sounds kind of weird, but yeah, that's kind of how I play it.
Okay.
How about you?
For me, it's three things. First thing is life appreciation. For those who know me personally, especially here in Boston, there was a day in which these dudes who were walking in front of me, I was actually coming home to my boy Artie's. We're going to his house, and like all the kids that we play with, we're all playing ball in front of his house. So I'm on the way from track practice on my bike to his house. Right, his house is like 5 houses from mine. These two dudes are walking in front of me on the bike. Mind you, I have pizza in my hand, bro. Some good ass pizza. You know what I'm saying? Next thing I know, a car drives by us, stops, and the dude in the back seat leans out, points a gun at us, right? And the two dudes in the front, they start running. And in my head, mind you, I always said I'm a duck gunshots, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, I'm like, damn, I'm really about to die right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is it. I mean, I didn't even expect to make it past 16. This time I was turning 18. Right? I'm like, damn, this is it. Right? But then you come back to reality, right? You're out your head now. You come back to reality, and you're like, oh, I need to live. Like, I need to live. So I'm rolling on my bike. I go to my boy Artie's house, and something told me to duck. Right, so I ducked, and a bullet hit the light post right where my head was. Boom, right there, boom. So since that day, every day has been a blessing for me. Because I always thought to myself, bruh, you were supposed to die back then.
Shit almost got snatched from you.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, to me, that just means like I have a mission. And this is more like a religion thing. It's like I have a mission that clearly wasn't done yet. You know what I'm saying? I still have to do some things on this earth before I go. You know, and since then, everything's been a blessing to me. Even through the heartaches, it's been a blessing. So that's one of the biggest things, life appreciation, right? I never expected to make it past that day. I was turning 18. I'm now 26, 8 years later, right? Number two, I would say temporary sadness. Everything in life is temporary. But something I've noticed is most of your situations that you are sad or mad in are oftentimes temporary a lot more compared to your happiness, right? Of course, it depends on your situation that you live in, right? Like if you live with abusive parents, that shit ain't fucking, you ain't happy 24/7. You know what I mean? But if you're living life like average and things like that, most of the stuff that does bad to you is either I got into a minor car accident, a relative died, I got up from work late, right? Those kind of things. And when you look at it, it's like, oh, that's temporary, right? You're going to feel sad for a day, maybe a week, maybe a month. And then you're going to continue about it. You're going to continue about life. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing is like, I know my sadness is temporary. That's one of the biggest things that I have to embed in my head, or else I would be sad 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Because life be kicking my ass sometimes. But it's the fact that I stay positive, sometimes I'm able to hit that shit back. You know what I mean? So that's just number two. Number three, I got too much to live for. I got too much to live for, fam, bro. I had made it so much further than I expected. And it's not karma, but yeah, it's karma. So everything you put on the universe is going to come back to you. That's my whole mindset of it too. And the amount of positivity I put out there has reflected back on me multiple times, right? Like my first year at work, bro, all I did was make sure the kids that, I got to see and things like that, made sure their visit to the neurologist was perfect, right? Made them like draw cartoons that the department never saw, all that stuff. Shit, I was printing out like Jimmy Neutron cartoons, and these kids never seen Jimmy Neutron. You know what I mean? Like they're like 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, who's this? This big headed guy, and I'm like, that's Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? When I had the free time, I would color with them. Sometimes I would put my time out there to make sure the parents were fine. I was making sure my coworkers were fine, right? I made sure everything was fine, everybody was good. Next thing you know, I got promoted. Right? I'm like, okay. I continue to do that same thing again. I got promoted again. I'm like, okay. Do the same thing again. Make sure everything's fine. Make sure everybody sees a smile on my face, right? I get voted the hospital's admin of the year. And mind you, this is a hospital that has thousands upon thousands of employees. So that caught me off guard. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, don't get me wrong, life's going to kick your ass. But if you keep putting out positivity, that positivity's coming back. It may not come back today, but it's coming back. And the way I look at life too is like, all the positivity you're doing, I think you get like a small fraction of it back. but the longer it takes for it to come back,
The more it is.
yeah. You know
I
what
can
I'm
see.
saying? It's just a built up spirit bomb right now. Give me your energy, all them good deeds you're doing, and you just gotta hold out because once you do something, once you keep doing bad though, that shit's shrinking. You know what I mean? So I don't give a shit if you gave $1 million to a homeless man. You do something bad a couple times, you gonna get back $1. You know what I mean? So that's how I stay positive. It's like life appreciation, temporary sadness, too much to live for. That's how it go for me.
I mean, what was another thing you said? Don't make permanent decisions off of temporary feelings.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That. Oh my gosh, man. Let me just say this: teenagers are dumb, but the most dangerous people, in my opinion, are young people in their 20s because we are more prone to do that than teenagers are. Right? Because you know why? You know why? A teenager knows they don't know much, but they act like it. A person in their 20s feels like they've experienced everything already.
Mm.
So we get the impression that what we do is right most of the time. It's not. It's not. But it goes into the emotion thing. It's like if you're happy, right? Make a guess on how long that will last, right? And you'll know, right? You can't put it in words, but you will know, right? If your job makes you happy, you'll know how long you're gonna be happy for. Could be months, could be years, could be until you retire, right? You'll know, but you can never tell someone because it's not something you can just say. It's a feeling, right? But there are a lot of people who, out of anger, especially, are willing to sacrifice tomorrow for today, right? And I blame YOLO, blame that movement. You only live once, because the issue is with YOLO is you're supposed to live today, right? But live for tomorrow, right? Make tomorrow better than today. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of people tend to not do that. A lot of people tend to sacrifice tomorrow for today. Next thing you know, they wake up the next day and wonder what happened. It's like, bruh, you gave up today. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at the philosophy of it, tomorrow is never supposed to come technically. Right? So technically you're fighting today for today. You know, like you're fighting for another today, right? If your today is bad, wait for another one. And another today is coming right there. Once this one's over, see, that's the thing how you look at life. Once this day is over, another day already started. There is no gap in between days, Jared. There is none. All right. There is literally as soon as it hits 11:59. All right. 12 o'clock is another day. Once that minuscule percent, there is no gap. Once the sun come up, once the sun go down, everything continues. There is no gap, which means, in my opinion, if you're having a bad day, don't worry. As soon as your bad day's done, the good day starts. All I'm saying. Jesus.
You should have done the aha.
Well, that's all I'm saying, bro. That's all it is.
But like also how you process each day also is going to affect your day. So if you had a shitty day and then the next morning you're still mad about your shitty day, you already start your next day on a shitty point. It's not going to be
Yeah.
good.
Don't let it turn over into tomorrow. All right. You get and people don't realize this. You do get a reset every day. You do get a reset. Right? It depends on what you want to do with that, though. Right? If you want to continue off of tomorrow, then go ahead. Right? Nobody's stopping you. Just acknowledge that you're choosing to begin today with yesterday's problems. That's all I'm saying.
Every day's a new day.
That's facts. But yeah, let's see. Any last words before we roll off here? Sounds
Oh,
good.
for you, you from like.
I hate you. I hate you.
of a very special set of skills.
This man's
And I will use them.
he's a damn fool. Okay. So, with that, guys, that is the end of today's episode of Mental Health and Life Positivity. Be sure to tune in. We're always going to be on YouTube. I'll post a couple clips from today also to Facebook. And then you can always catch us on Twitch for video games and things like that. So, with that in hand, guys, appreciate you guys for coming through. And we out. Have a good night, morning, afternoon. What else is there? Evening.
Isn't that Pops from Regular Show? That's what you sound like.
Is it dusk? Dusk, dawn, something like that.